Hello students, I'm Dr. Himanshu Kandpal, Assistant Professor English, Government MS College for Women, Bikaner. Today we are going to start a new poem, Ode to Beauty, written by one of the famous and prominent younger romantic poet, John Keats. First of all, we are going to study the introduction to the poet and then introduction to the poem. About the poet. John Keats, the youngest of the Romantic poets, was born in London in October 1795. His father, a stable keeper, died when the boy was 9 years old, and his mother when he was 15. He was sent to a good school at Enfield, where he was befriended by the master's son, Charles Cowden Clarke, later well known in literary circles. On leaving school in 1810, he was apprenticed to a surgeon, passed his examinations, and practiced surgery in London till 1817. He studied medicine but did not practice as a doctor. He gave up the profession because he was more interested in writing poetry and devoted himself to poetry. Though denied the advantage of public school and university culture, he was fortunate in being introduced by the clerk to such literary men as Leigh Hunt, Hazlitt, Shelley, and Godwin. The clerks lent him books including the Fairy Queen of Spenser, the poet who made a lasting impression on the poetry of Keats. In 1817, he published his first volume of poems, which was not at all a success. In 1818 appeared his Endymion, which was mercilessly criticized by the Quarterly Review and Blackwood's magazine. By this time, signs of consumption, from which his mother and a brother had died, began to show themselves in him. Nevertheless, he kept up his labors and during the next 2 years produced his best work, which appeared in his third volume, Lamia, Isabella, and other poems. His disease, which had now taken a firm grip on him, was aggravated by a violent passion for Fanny Brown, and he left for Italy in September 1820, accompanied by his friend. He died at Rome in February 1821. He died at the young age of 25 due to tuberculosis, which he got infected with while nursing his brother Tom. He was buried in the Protestant cemetery at Rome, and on his tomb is the inscription made by himself: "Here lies one whose name was writ in water." John Keats tried his pen at various forms of writing, but none of them yielded him as great success as the ode form. Keats holds a leading rank among the ode writers of English literature. He wrote odes and long poems. His famous odes are Ode to a Nightingale, Ode on a Grecian Urn, Ode to Melancholy, Ode to Autumn, and Ode on Indolence. He is also known for his long poems such as Endymion, Hyperion, Lamia, Isabella, and the Eve of Saint Agnes. Now we are going to move towards the poem. Interpreting the poem. The poem Ode to Beauty is the first stanza of Keats's poetic romance Endymion, published in 1818. This poem is based on the Greek myth of Endymion, a handsome shepherd youth who spent much of his life in constant sleep. He was dear to Diana, the moon goddess. In the beginning lines of the poem, in this poem, Keats opines that a beautiful thing is a perpetual or continual source of delight. With passage of time, beauty grows and does not fade away. Keats feels that a beautiful thing is ever going to delight anyone who comes in contact with it. And with the passage of time, beauty grows and does not fade away. It is soothing to the eyes of the beholders, as it provides them tranquility, peace, and solace. So, when Keats says that a thing of a beauty is a joy forever, he writes and he identifies beauty with truth. For example, the beauty of nature helps in strengthening the bond between nature and human beings. He feels that if a human being comes in contact with nature and it the beauty of nature is a continuous source of delight for human beings, and that strengthens the bond between nature and human beings. Human life is full of sorrows, misfortunes, disappointments, and despairs. But a glimpse of natural beauty sheds the shadow of sadness from human life and fills it with hope and happiness. The writer feels that human life is full of sorrows and misfortunes. They are part of human destiny. But if one comes in contact with natural beauty, it sheds the darkness from the life of human beings and it fills with hope and happiness. All the shortcomings and drawbacks of human lives are compensated by the sight of natural beauty. There are countless natural sights loaded with beauty. These include heavenly bodies like the sun and the moon, the fragrant flowers, the sheltering trees, the flowing streams of water, and the flowery bushes. Keats feels that one should have an eye to look at the beauty of nature. It is present everywhere in form of sun, moon, blooming flowers, the shade giving trees, the flowing rivers, streams, and the flowery bushes. So we can say that Keats was considerably influenced by Spenser and was, like the latter, a passionate lover of beauty in all its forms and manifestations. This passion for beauty constitutes his aestheticism. Is his love for beauty. Beauty indeed was his pole star. Beauty in nature, in women, and in art. Of all the poets in his time, Keats is one of the most inevitably associated with the love of beauty in the ordinary sense of the term. He was the most passionate lover of the world as the carrier of beautiful images and the many imaginative associations of an object or word with whatever might give it a heightened emotional appeal. Poetry, according to Keats, should be the incarnation of beauty, not a medium for the expression of religious or social philosophy. So, in this poem, he feels that even such simple sights of nature can be source of ecstasy, delight. In addition to these sights are the inspiring tales of legendary heroes who sacrifice their lives for noble cause. Then he talks about the inspiring tales of legendary heroes. In the poem, these beautiful things are metaphorically presented as an eternal, source of nourishing nectar provided to human soul by heaven. The poem is written in heroic couplets, rhyming couplets in iambic pentameter. Iambic means the light syllable followed by a stressed syllable. The poem follows the meter, that is iambic pentameter. Pentameter here means line of 5 metric feet with 10 syllables. And the vivid pastoral imagery. Pastoral means relating or composed of shepherds or herdsmen. Imagery here means visually descriptive or figurative language in a literary works. Provides it a typical Keatsian sensuousness. Sensuousness means having strong sensory appeal or affecting the senses of the readers. So, Keats was not only the last but also the most perfect of the romanticists or the romantic writers. While Scott was merely telling stories, it is quoted by one writer that while Scott was merely telling stories and Wordsworth reforming poetry or upholding the moral law, and Shelley advocating impossible reforms, and Byron voicing his own egoism and the political discontent of the times, Keats lived apart from men and from all political measures, worshipping beauty like a devotee, perfectly content to write what was in his own heart or to reflect some splendor of the natural world as he saw or dreamed it to be. He had, moreover, the novel idea that poetry exists for its own sake and suffers loss by being devoted to philosophy or politics, or indeed to any cause, great or small. This is a short introduction to the poem Ode to Beauty, written by John Keats. Thank you.